Hello, and thank you for watching this regional update for the Canadian Prairie. I'm Andrew Pritchard, Senior Meteorologist with Nutrien Ag Solutions. We'll start with a satellite picture here on Wednesday morning, and it's likely a cloudy start for just about everybody across the prairie. A very wintry pattern in place, so whether you got high-level clouds or low-level gloom, you got clouds above your head, you got cold air in place. It's -1 in Winnipeg, -5, -6 as you make your way through Regina and Saskatoon, -3 from Edmonton down all the way to Grand Prairie, as we talk about central and southern Alberta. And we've got another shot of even colder air making its way in as we head into the weekend. We've also got some snow passing off to the south. So a little bit of light snow from Calgary over toward Medicine Hat this morning. This is associated with a pretty big winter storm that's going to be moving again generally south of the prairie. We're looking at the Dakotas, parts of Minnesota and Wisconsin, accumulating 10 to 12 inches of snow, if not more, in some areas as we head through the weekend. And as you head closer to the U.S.-Canadian border, your chances for some accumulating snow start to increase as well. As we look at the next 5 days, temperature anomalies on the left, and then we've got the ensemble snow forecast on the right. We're talking about some very cold air, the coldest of which across North America locked into the Canadian Prairie here, especially portions of central and southern Alberta, southern Saskatchewan down into Montana, North and South Dakota. That's where we're talking about temperatures 10 to 15 degrees Celsius, cooler than average overall over the next 5 days is what I guess I want to say. Try not to say average twice there. But as we look at the next 5 days overall, temperature is going to be very cold in this region as we get another reinforcing shot of that cold air as we head into the weekend. Now, as we talk about the snow chances, again, you're going to have to head south of the border into the United States before you get into the maximum snowfall corridor here, where we're talking about in excess of a foot on the table. But as you head pretty far south into maybe southern Alberta, this is where maybe you could find some accumulating snow here on the order of 5 to 10 millimeters as you work your way south toward the border with Montana. Same thing in far, far southwestern Saskatchewan. I'm talking south of Highway 1, maybe getting into the 10 millimeter range here. But what I will say here is that there's often a really sharp cutoff on the northern side of these snow bands. So just understand that, the odds are against us getting a lot of accumulating snow here on the prairie. The odds are heaviest as you make your way down into the U.S., but certainly if you live or if you're farming close to the U.S. border, your chances are a bit higher for some accumulating snow over the next 24 to 96 hours. Now, why all this is happening, this is our pattern that we're really just stuck with at the time. And that's a big ridge over here in the Gulf of Alaska, this big trough that has been just continued to be reinforced by storm systems coming over the ridge and then digging in here across western Canada into the central United States. And so as we hit play on this and look at things as we head into the weekend, you see this trough kind of reorganize. We get that reinforcing shot of cold air coming in right here. It's on the backside of this trough, and this is going to dig some cold air well into the U.S. as we head through the weekend into early next week. Now, I'm going to point something out here for folks in, we'll say, Calgary up toward the Peace River region. When we look at those temperature forecasts as we head into early next week, you're going to see a little bit of a warm-up. And the reason that happens is because, we dig this big trough in. We're going to apparently do another cutoff low across the U.S. This is something that 2020 apparently loves to do. So we are going to get some ridging trying to nudge into Alberta. That's going to nudge our temperatures up just a bit. But I'm using caution there because the pattern doesn't change. Don't buy into any sort of long-term warm-up here across the prairie, across, where we're seeing this advertised in Calgary. Again, the pattern stays the same. We got another trough just waiting up here to come diving in on the backside of that ridge as we move into the middle and later part of next week. You'll be able to see that here when we look at the actual wind speeds. Again, here's our big trough with little, I say little, but they are potent shortwaves embedded within that flow. There's one there, we got another one, and here's a fourth. So there are just, waves embedded and rotating around the base of this trough that are being the instigators for reinforcing shots of cold air and the storm systems, the clouds and the precipitation. And again, you see the active storm track digging into the U.S. That's why we're talking about the heaviest snow accumulating right here across Montana, the Dakotas, into the northern Great Lakes. But let's hit play on this. Watch these systems just continue to rotate around the base of the trough. This is the one that brings all of the snow today. This is the one coming right here. Let me switch over to black. This is the one that brings all the snow over the next 24 hours across primarily, again, Montana into the Dakotas. We then see another one come around on the backside right here. This brings a reinforcing shot of cold air. This is the one that drops us into the Arctic freezer through the weekend. Bunch of cold air coming in on the backside of that trough. I've additionally got some snow forecast with that one across the northern plains into the upper Great Lakes. And then we get this another one. This is where we get the little bit of ridging trying to build in and across western Canada. You're going to see the temperatures trying to tick upwards in Calgary. It does not last, though, because, look, the pattern doesn't change. We get another trough that's going to come digging in here. So overall, just continuation of the ridging across the Pacific, troughing as we move into the central United States. So a cold pattern with snow chances as we head into the middle and later part of next week. I apologize for some of the noise. We're doing homeschooling at home right now as I record the weather videos. All right, so now let's look at the precipitation forecast here. Just raw output from the European operational model. We'll hit play on this. We'll see the two systems that sneak off to our south over the next 48 to 96 hours. The one that's bringing a little light snow to southern Alberta right now. This one digs in across the northern plains, bringing heavy snow to the Dakotas and northern Minnesota. As we head through the day tomorrow, we'll have high pressure in place, just a lot of cold air during the day tomorrow into a Friday morning. Into our Friday across the prairie, cold and dry, maybe some flurries being squeezed out of the air, but I think we'll see some sunshine here for the first time in a long time as we go through part of Friday. But another system sneaks off as we go off to the south as we go through the weekend. This one again could bring some snow to parts of southern Alberta. As you get closer to the U.S. border, your chances of picking up a little snow from this get a bit higher. This again travels south of the prairie Saturday into Sunday. High pressure on the backside. This is when we get the coldest air coming in here on the back half of the weekend. And then we'll have to watch for the potential for more than one systems trying to sneak out of the prairie here, or sneak out of the Rockies into the prairie as we get into the middle part of next week. Each of these has a better chance of bringing maybe some snow into the prairie. Of course, we're way out there in the future into the 10-day time frame. So just between now and the beginning of next week, so between now and midnight on Monday, the chance of picking up 3 inches or more of snowfall. That's what you're looking at over here on the left, and then we've got the ensemble snow forecast on the right. And again, much of the snow expected to be south of the Canadian border, south of Highway 1 across southern Alberta, far southwestern Saskatchewan. That's probably your best chance at picking up any kind of snow that's going to stick on the ground. Otherwise, we're talking about a lot of cold air and maybe some very light snow flurries because the pattern continues to favor these corridors as we head through the next 7 days. We're looking at the precipitation anomaly forecast across North America over the next 7 days. Let's take a look at the temperature trends then. Again, a lot of cold air going to be spilling into the prairie as we get into the weekend. We're looking at that reinforcing shock coming in here Friday, Saturday into Sunday. Now here's the warm-up that I've been talking about, the kind of fake warm-up. We get a little bit of ridging that allegedly wants to sneak in here as we get into, say, October 28th, 29th. I mentioned, though, the pattern doesn't change. You're just waiting for that next hammer to drop, the next wave of cold air. And at this point, it looks to come just maybe a day or two later. So here's that warm-up as it looks right now on the national blended model forecast for the next 10 days here. A lot of cold air over the next 5. Use caution. Getting excited about that. We'll check in on that as we get a little bit farther into the week. Edmonton, same story. We look at a little bit of a warm-up. I do buy the warm-up. I don't buy how long it's going to last. Saskatoon, here's your little warm-up here. Temperatures hovering below or staying below freezing through the entire Thursday through Sunday period, warming up a little bit as we head into the early part of next week. And then here's a look at the 10-day temperature trend in Winnipeg. High temperatures very consistent here, right around 0 degrees, give or take 1, as you head through the 23rd through the 30th.